We are live. This is Coach Arnie with the Health, Love, and Life Show on WGSN-DB, going solo, network radio, TV, and podcast. There's me. There's my phone number. You can call or email me. You can at Arnie. You can also, if you want to set up a phone call, go to CoachArnie.com. We just set that up, CoachArnie.com. You can go in there and you can actually get into my calendar. I got to do my weekly. Got to check that. But yeah, you can sign up for a phone call, and this is not a political show, but sometimes the current events lead that. We'll thank CC Schatz for getting me all fired up here. But there is a lot going on today, and one of the things that I do is as a speaker and a presenter is I do workshops. I was doing workshops for businesses before the coronavirus upheaval here in our society, but I'm gearing those workshops now. We've been really starting to promote them this week on some of the trials and tribulations that business owners are going through right now, because they're getting tossed and turned all over the place by mayors and governors and local municipalities on, oh, we're open, no, we're not going to open, oh, you got to wear a mask, no, you don't have to wear a mask, or here's the law, here's the fine. We had a mayor here in our town that was bragging about fining somebody. But what I tell people is that businesses, you're trying to make a living. You're trying to employ people, and you got politicians that are trying to fine you. It's just goofy stuff. But I've told people that I've been in contact with that every single case in this country, look it up, every single case where the citizen or the business challenged and sued the government, mayor, didn't matter, governor, they won. Everyone. Every case. It's just that most people won't go through the process. But if you do, you hire an attorney, you sue them, you'll win. You'll win. So it just annoys me, because as a human being, I like to treat people the way they want to be treated. And the last thing in the world any of us want to be treated is like a child with somebody waving their finger in your face. So, because, and it kind of goes along with the topic tonight, which is changing your mind, and I actually had a client this morning ask me, because he's OCD, he's anxiety riddled, and he's doing phenomenal. I'm so proud of him. Every day I got to tell him I'm so proud of him, because he's under such assault in his mind from family, friends, coworkers, you name it. And because he obsesses about stuff. So now lately he's been obsessing about the mask, because everybody's talking about this mask thing. And I send him good science. And of course, people that get in his face have zero science. And so his question is, what would Arnie say? What would Arnie do? Because I've told him here that I've challenged our mask ordinance and I've been very non-compliant. I don't do it. I figure, hey, look, first of all, I know it doesn't work, so it doesn't really matter. But in the meantime, I thought that social distancing worked. I thought 6 foot was okay. So if I keep 6 foot away from you, and if you're that OCD about a mask, I don't really want to get that close to you anyways. So we should be good, right? But if not, then the mask that you're wearing should protect everybody. Or not. So that's my whole thing. But you got to be confident, and that we're going to talk about tonight. Confident and willing to change your mind, because some people would say that people that are changing their mind are more intelligent. Others will say that people that dig in more confident, but they are, I guess they'd be called stubborn. But people that change their mind are perceived as more intelligent. I don't know. So I think what you need to do is kind of look at the situation. Do I need to be more confident, or do I need to be more intelligent for this situation in my job or family or whatever it might be? And one of the things that I've noticed and have commented, because I love working with young workers, I love working with young millennials, Gen Zs. Those are anybody really under the age of 40 that is working age at all. I mean, we're talking about down to 16. I actually worked with a young man yesterday who was 16. He started a non-profit and to go around and talk to school students about finances. Wonderful topic. Great young man. I was sharing with Cece a few minutes ago. I was at the Trump rally. I hope you're not going to judge me on that, but I was there. It was literally right across the street from my house. Walked over. Didn't think I was going to get in, but they decided to allow some people to go into an overflow room. And I didn't have to do that. I actually found a spot against the wall in the back, standing room. And it was wonderful because most people were standing anyways. It was fantastic. Being around young people that are energized and confident. God, I felt so good. Hardly anybody wearing a mask. I'd say maybe 1 out of 100 at that. Just felt confident around these people. Just, I was so proud. Okay. So let's talk about this for a little bit. Sign of intelligence, changing your mind. Didn't we all grow up, at least people my age, you need to make a decision. Quit changing your mind. I hear it all the time. And that's kind of why I brought this topic up this week. Because I'm always changing my mind. I drive people crazy. Because I change my mind constantly on topics, things that I'm doing, because something pops in my head and I go, I want to do that. I want to try that. And, can it be dangerous? Yeah, it can be dangerous. But at the same time, I am intrigued by the whole intelligence thing because some of the research I've done on it is that people that have this ability or I guess we'll call it the skill of changing your mind seem to be more open to different points of view. And one of the things that I teach in my workshops for businesses is to see the world from the other person's point of view. Just like when I do a relationship workshop, can you see a lot of these things are the same? Meaning that if I am a manager, if I own a company, startup, whatever, and I have partners or I have employees, whatever it might be, it is way old school to think that they're all going to think like me unless you hired everybody and you had specific guidelines for everybody, which they used to have more stuff. I know, I've done enough hiring. And they had to agree with everything you believed in or you weren't going to hire them. That's not the way it works. So if you hire for a specific skill and they do it well, but they're not happy, there's a good chance they're not going to perform. And that's going to hurt you. Then it's going to cost you money to fire them and hire another one, do the training. That's a lot of money. It's thousands of dollars and downtime as well. Now I was talking to one company this week and the manager said that most of the managers are skilled at all the different jobs. So if somebody has to let go, they can do it. But think what happens. Now they're doing that person's job, which means somebody else has to do their job. Oh, which is why a lot of these guys are salaried. And think about it, when you're salaried, you take stuff home. That's just the way it is. You take stuff home. That's what leaders do. When I was coaching football or wrestling, whatever, I took stuff home. It didn't end when I closed the doors. It never ended because you're constantly dealing with stuff, phone calls, parents, athletes, problems, school problems, relationship problems. It never ends. If you run a company, these problems don't end either. You've got to have a system that will allow you to find the right people. So how does this relate to changing your mind? Because as the owner, as a manager, you should be allowed to change your mind, because that means you're listening. One of the most important skills as a leader is the ability to listen. It's one of the things I had to learn a lot. I had to work on it because I love to jump in the middle of your sentence. Now, I'll be honest, a lot of times I do know what you're going to say, but I have to learn to give you the courtesy to listen to you. Now, there are times when I say to myself, and I ask permission, do I have permission to interrupt you? Of course, most people say. And I'm doing that for a reason. Because if they're telling me this long, drawn-out story, I want to interrupt it, because when we start interrupting our stories, complaints, we start to mix it up a little bit. And eventually they can't tell that same story. Because I want people not to complain. I want people to solve problems, move on, and learn how to do it themselves. Yeah. So we got to listen. So we got to listen to people, hear what they have to say. Because listen, most people, if not all, are sensitive. That's right. All age, doesn't matter how old you are. You could be greatest generation, 80 years old, or you could be Gen Z, just starting, 16, 17, 18. You're a sensitive person. We all are. Which means we all just want to be listened to. We want to be understood. And then we want somebody to encourage us. Straight across the board. I don't care what industry you're in. Doesn't matter. So if you're somebody that is running a company and you have a different mindset about people, but you happen to run into a lot of different people, and you don't change your mind, you dig your heels in, you might come across as tough, confident, stubborn, but you may lose your team. It's up to you. Or you could say, hey, look, come on here, I want to talk to you. What's going on? How can I help you to be better? What can I do? Now, look, you're running a business. I mean, you're not going to be someone's mom, and you're not going to be somebody's babysitter. But if it's something you can help them by understanding them and encouraging them, maybe you can give them some pointers, because they're coming to you as a leader. Maybe you can give them some pointers and they can solve it themselves. Gosh, now you're killing two birds with one stone. You're making a great friend. You're helping the culture of your business. And you're elevating them to the next level by teaching them a very valuable tool. Yeah. These are all things you can do by listening, by being flexible, by being nimble. If you're a company and you're flexible and nimble and you pivot quickly, you can get yourself out of these little problems like we're having right now. And you will. You don't get locked into something just because everybody else is. You're not following the herd. A lot of these companies that just follow the herd get themselves in trouble. Because it's easy. Remember we talked about level 3 experiences? Easy. It's easy because it's like eating ice cream, man. It tastes real good when it goes over. 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, ugh. Man, I wish I wouldn't eat that. God, I hit the wrong spot. Or you maybe had the ice cream, maybe you had some fudge on there, maybe you had a brownie, cookie. Why not? It's ice cream, right? Maybe you went back to have another scoop. Well, remember, easy choice, not good for you, not good for others, and it doesn't serve the greater good, which is your health. So we want to listen, we want to understand, we want to encourage. That puts you on a different level with people. You want to be able to take in new information. Yeah. If you are somebody who changes your mind and you're learning new information. That's why I love, as a scientist myself, somebody who's been in the healthcare field for going on 30 years or more. I love digging into things, especially with COVID. I study this stuff. I read research papers. I talk to medical professionals, and then I put it all together in my brain and come up with what I think is a pragmatic piece of advice for me first. I generally don't go running around telling everybody what to think. Now, I take care of me, and I take care of people that want to know. And then, or I have my only non-negotiable is if you get in my face, I'm going to shove information down your throat. And all I'm doing that for is to get you to shut up. Because it's not fair for you to judge me, because I'm never going to judge you. You can think whatever you want, as long as you don't get in my face about it. I don't care what you think. I really don't. It's important that we all have our own opinions. It really is. What's not important is what I'm seeing out in our communities, that if you don't agree with somebody, that they're going to burn your house down. That's not okay. That's tyranny. I don't agree with that at all. So, listen, going back to my story, this young man was giving me a scenario this morning that, well, if this information on the mask and this information on the mask and this were true, would you change your mind? I thought about it for about a second, and I go, wait a minute. First of all, I don't like playing that game because I already know the truth. I'm not digging in. I just know the truth. I've done my homework. Now, if I would have dug in 3 months ago without knowing the truth, then I would have been basically stubborn. Be nice. I'll be nice to myself. I'll be stubborn. But I've already gone down this road. So I told him, I go, look, I already know. So, and I've shared with you research as well. So I don't want to do this game. But we can do other things that I don't know about, So, so it's important that you are open to new information, because I love learning new. One of the things I wrote some notes here, that I'm especially open to new information that could challenge me, because I've done that my whole life. Training. Gosh, when I was a kid, you learn how to train this way, but I was always reading journals. I was always practicing things. I was always talking to people, doing different things. I was always open to learning new ways to train. And then I would look at it, read the science, find some science. Maybe there wasn't any science. And I kept learning. And over the years, I put over my training. I do the same thing now with my ultra training. A lot of things that I do, a lot of experience people don't do. Doesn't mean it's right. It just means from now working for me, because I learned it from people that are more experienced than I was. So I'll continue to be open to new ideas until the day I die, because I want to learn. I don't want to be stubborn about this. I want to be nimble. I want to be flexible. I want to have the ability to pivot, especially with nutrition. Gosh, I'm learning new things about it. I have tried every diet you can think of: high fat, low fat, high protein, low protein, no protein, vegan, raw vegan. Good grief, man, done it all. I was talking with the client's wife today. We were talking about cabbage and how cabbage doesn't always agree with me, and I go, yeah, I remember the days when my wife and her aunts were all over the house making big pots of cabbage soup, and it smelled horrible, and it gave everybody really bad gas. It was just bad. And because I have a tendency to not eat foods today that bother me. I've just learned. I used to love nuts. I love nuts. And we always had bags of nuts in my house. Almonds, cashews, and whatever, all kind of nuts. Salted, unsalted. I'd say going on 6 months or longer. We just stopped doing it. Stopped doing it because my wife and I both were not. It wasn't agreeing with us. So why was I grabbing a handful of nuts so that 15 minutes later I could not feel good? Does that make sense? They tasted good. Still love them. I still do some almond butter because I love it. I don't overdo it. I don't overdo it because it doesn't make me feel good. And it's not good for me, which means it doesn't serve the greater good. So let's take a quick minute here. Not a minute. Let's take a few seconds to take a pause for the Health, Love, and Life show with me. And I am a health and life strategist. There's Johnny. How you doing, buddy? You better believe it, Johnny. The mask will build up CO2. And I listened to a great doctor, just wrote a book on it. And they get lightheaded, is right. There's people at work passing out, hitting their heads. So we all have a health. I use mine here in Arizona. I tell people, hey, look, I've got asthma, so leave me alone because they can't question you on any of the guidelines for that. And but the mask is it's not healthy, and all you gotta do is get a pulse oximeter. Even though I did see a post on some knucklehead and said, oh yeah, only for a couple minutes, but nobody's only wearing it for a couple minutes. Actually, when you talk to medical professionals that are willing to tell the truth, first of all, when was the last time you went to a doctor's office with the flu? Because honestly, that was the last time I went to the doctor's office with the flu 3 years ago. And I remember having the flu because I even tested for it that day. I remember breaking a sweat in there where I was drenched when I broke my fever. No one had a mask on. Why not? Did we learn something new? No one in the doctor's office had a mask. The doctor was swabbing me, and he ran 3 different tests me that, and the nurse came in. No one had a mask on. Why not? So we got to change that now. Now everybody's going to wear a mask all day long in a doctor's office. Something tells me that they're not. Something tells me that they're not. Just a hint. Just a hint. All right. So let's go. Here we go back to what we were talking about before Johnny jumped in there. And didn't take much of a break there since Johnny got me fired up again. We were talking about nutrition. All the different nutrition program I've done my whole life. I used to drive my wife crazy. I've done every diet. I wanted to learn about it. And the best ways to learn about stuff is to do them. Because everybody that wrote the book wrote it as if they were some kind of a nutrition god, right? They still do. My way or the highway. I learned a long time ago, no, that doesn't work. You've got to find out what highway you need to get on. And use the food that work for you. That's right. So I've always been nimble and quick. You know, I even recently, I've morphed from more of a paleo style diet to carnivore, almost, well, not, I call it hyper carnivore. I did pretty strict carnivore, but now I usually eat, meat based, but I'll have some sweet potato here and there. Tonight I had squash, fried it in butter. It was really good. Squash. I'll do a run tomorrow, so I'm going to have some seafood. I already got it planned. And some rice tomorrow early because I'm doing an afternoon workout. So I have to kind of be strategic with my food. But it's very meat-based. And I feel good. And I'm healthy. I've had my blood checked. Everything's fine. Everything's really damn good, actually. Do I want it to be better? Yes. And I don't want to have problems. And I've learned and studied. This is what I do, guys. As a coach and a teacher, I've always prepared so that I can help people. But I start with myself. If it's information that I think I'm interested in, and I learn it, I practice it, then I can share it. It doesn't work for everybody, but I've learned enough to be able to help a lot of people with various different problems. And that's why I love to study this stuff. So you can, I'm not saying to be, I consider myself more of an expert in people, human psychology, human behavior. All these other things, these are things we learn and we work through and we practice. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, change your mind. Change your mind. Be open to going from vegan to raw vegan to go back to paleo or go back to maybe a little keto. Try that. How does that work? Or how does it work when you have this food or that food? That's what will carry you to the answer. I don't know what your answer is. I'm still trying to figure out my answer. This is an ongoing process. Nobody has the answer. Somewhere inside of you, there is the answer. Because your body, but your body will change. Gosh, 15 years ago, I couldn't eat certain food. I mean, I used to love peanut butter, all that good stuff. Can't eat that stuff now. Doesn't work. See, nuts, peanuts. I still love peanuts. Can't eat that stuff at all. Tears my gut up. I was talking to somebody this morning. My dad used to make homemade bean soup, all kind of beans. You name it. I can't even touch a bean today. It's terrible. I could fight it, be miserable, or I could change and not do it. It's okay. You know, if you're worried about being judged and you're hanging around the wrong people, you're hanging around the wrong people if you're being judged on changing your mind. That is a promise. Okay? And you need to stop doing it. All right? You need to stop doing it. So yeah, if we are, what's another one? How about relationships? Now, you know, when I go through my relationship list, you know, what do you want? Who do you need to become? Because that's all you can change. But you can want whatever you want, and you can change your mind. Maybe you're a dude and you like blondes. Maybe the next week you like redheads. I don't know. Maybe next week you like brunettes. I don't really care. It's up to you. If you change your mind, who cares? You're the only one that should care. It just means you're open. Maybe you met somebody that has a great personality and they happen to be a brunette. And at that point you said, man, I really love brunettes. But in reality, you just love their personality. So we don't know. So, you know, but I've met people who says, no, I can't date that person because they have the wrong color hair. Whoa, okay. Dig your heels in. You sound confident. I met a guy that I worked with in rehab many years ago. Great guy. I think he's in medical school now. And he is confident as hell. But if I was a female, I wouldn't get close to him with a 10-foot pole. You know what I'm saying? Because of some of his attitude about ladies. I don't like. He's confident. He's not complaining about it. That's not my problem. And I'm certainly not going to make it my problem. And I wouldn't encourage anybody else to have that. But he's confident. He's not going to change his mind. So he doesn't come across as intelligent, does he? But he comes across as confident, doesn't he? Depends on what world we live in, what's that important to. But relationships are big. That's why when I'm doing my list of non-negotiables, it's amazing how many people change that list every time they have a breakup. Because they learn something new that they will not put up with. Drugs, alcohol, this, that, whatever. Hopefully that list doesn't get too big, because if it's too big, then you become stubborn in your own way. But you can. You can have a list a mile long, so it just makes it hard to find somebody. Makes it hard to connect with somebody. So relationships are a big one to learn how to how to relate to other people. Don't have to be intimate. It can be anything. Friends, colleagues, management type folks, work, checking out at the grocery store, working at the auto shop, getting your car fixed. All these things are important. How you come across as either open-minded or confident, either intelligent or stubborn. What's another one here? I made a little note here about trust. Trust is so gosh darn important. Trust at work and home. And the reason I put it down is because years ago, I was a firm believer, because I used to do a lot of work in rehab, not just physical, but in mental addiction. And one of the things I learned was that trust was earned daily. Behavior over time. And so, especially in the rehab world, because if you ever talk to an addict, they'll tell you addicts lie. And they do. I love them, but they do. They lie. So I had to learn to have them earn my trust. Now, that was 12 years ago. And what I've done over the last, 12 years is say, look, I'm going to give you trust. Here. There you go. And now it's up to you to do something with it. Now, you could throw it back in my face, then I'm going to have to cut you off quickly. So the idea is give away trust quickly. Give them an opportunity to make it work. Even give them an opportunity to get some help. And then you got to move on quickly. It's like a sandwich. Give away the trust. That's your bread. Let them work through it. Figure it out. That's the meat. Get rid of them quickly. That's the bread. Because you don't want to hold grudges against people. But give them the opportunity to fix it. If they can't do it or don't want to do it, move on quickly. I've done it. Man, by listening to other people, you drag it on. You drag it on. Have people just hanging around just by a thread, annoying the crap out of everybody, including you, because you can't make up your mind. Or you were too stubborn because you didn't want to come across as weak to your team. So you do something that hurts your team. So I've changed my mind on how I deal with trust. I'm not so worried about earning it as I am giving it away. Then it's on you. Yeah, it's on you. You get to play with it, not me. Here's some other kind of interesting concepts, ideas around changing your mind. One of the things I read quite a bit about was that changing your mind often leads to new, innovative approaches. Because, one of the things, I love this story. I was told this story many years ago. This is when engineers had slide rules, like a little ruler that moves, has a thing on it, measure, and they're good at it. I never learned. I was in school right when they got rid of those things. And I think they were working for Ford or Chevy, one of those big companies back in let's say 60s. And the head engineer, they're having a meeting, and all the young engineers are there in Detroit. And outside the conference room, the head engineer had a box on a table. And they're all going, "What's this for?" "I want you guys to put all your slide rules in here." "What?" "Yeah. Put your slide rule in there." Because they all carry it in their pocket. Then they start carrying calculators, right? So put a slide rule in their pocket, put it out, put it in the thing. Then they came in. And they're all sitting around, "Why'd you make us do that, man?" And the guy goes, "Listen, I don't want anybody taking their slide rule out. And we're throwing ideas around here, telling us why it can't work." That's right. That's called open-minded. That's called innovative. That's called intelligence. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean it's all intelligence. It doesn't mean you can't be intelligent and be stubborn. Not at all. Some people might call it principle. We're calling it stubborn tonight. But open-minded is open-minded. You know, I love to listen to people as I become a better listener because I just want to learn. I mean, believe me, a lot of stuff I listen to a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of it I wouldn't even begin to incorporate into my life. But the other person thinks that enough of me, I don't know what it is, that I'm willing to at least listen to what their thoughts are. And that's all. That's all I'm going to do. Because I'm doing it for two reasons. One, I want to learn. I want to learn how they're thinking. Two, you know, I want to encourage them. I want to encourage them. Now, I don't want to encourage somebody that's doing something illegal or that is potentially hurting somebody. So those are my principles. Those are my values. I'm not going to do that. But encouraging somebody who's coming up with a different idea, who's being part of the solution, not part of the problem, man, I'll encourage that all day long. We don't have enough of that anymore. People that are curious, that want to see new ways to do things, I'll encourage that all day long. I love that kind of thinking. Here's kind of an interesting thought, because I do a lot of work with obsessive behavior. Some of that is being so obsessed with detail. You ever meet somebody like that? Detail. That's not me. I'm the opposite of that. So I'll drive people that are detail-oriented crazy because I'm not. I'm better at it, especially when I'm doing my Grand Canyon trips or a big trip, because I have to rely on me. Have I made mistakes? Yep. But I don't obsess about it. I create plans. I have little check sheets that I don't always use. So I need to get better at it. But that's why I like to go to some places multiple times to learn it. And then way I can break it down. And that way I can create a system to do it. You know, just like I'm trying to learn this new system with a gentleman right now on selling my workshop. I've created a system to do the Grand Canyon. Yeah, system. And so let's say in a month, I've invited 3 other guys, and all I'm going to do is plug them into the system because they've agreed. So we'll meet a couple times online, and then we'll go to work. All they got to do is follow the plan till the end. My plan is always at the end. You can do whatever you want. You got to get to the end. And to get to the end, you got to follow the plan. That's what I've had to learn my whole life, because I've jumped. A lot of times I've been ready, fire, aim, and that's not always the best thing in the world. Ready, fire, aim is not the best thing in the world. Okay, but what is the best thing in the world is to think about it, and if you're being obsessed about it, back off. Take a deep breath. Breathe the 10. Okay? But if you're constantly digging your heels in about something, then you're going to obsess about it. Instead of going, hey, I can hardly wait to get to work tomorrow. I want to talk to Jimmy about coming up with a new way to do this thing. I'm going to talk to Mary, see if she has any ideas on how we can be a little more efficient here. Because we don't have to do it this way. It's whatever works, right? But how many are afraid to have that conversation? Because they don't want to be perceived as weak. They want to be perceived as a leader, a strong leader. Yeah. So again, it's so important to understand that seeing the problem from the other person's point of view is so powerful. It's so powerful. And it doesn't mean you have to change. It just means you have to be open to it. You never know. Heck, I know this, where we live, here in Arizona, I know for a long time my wife was not willing to move. And it's kind of funny in the last, I'd say month or so, she's talked about it herself. See? So if you're open-minded and you don't get so obsessed with the details, like instead of worried about everything you'd have to do to move, you just worry about what would it be like. It might be something that's enjoyable. It might be something that's needed. But it's something we need to think about. Yeah. Something we need to think about. And the fact that being open-minded is critical. It's so important. I wanted to touch base here in the last couple of minutes. One of the things that I ran into was just interesting because I consider myself an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs have a high failure rate. If you knew that or not, they have a high failure rate. Finding good people, sticking with it is hard. And the research has shown that over 76%, three quarters of all entrepreneurs dig their heels. I've met them. I've been there. We're doing it this way. This is how we're going to do it. This is the only way to do it. This way works. I guarantee it. That's what us entrepreneurs all do. The ones that are the best, they're flexible. They can adapt. They can move quickly. They can change direction too fast. You know, they got good lateral steps. They can make a difference because they can get there. If you dig your heels in, you're stuck. You're only in one position. If you're nimble and quick, you can help a lot of people. Change. And part of that nimbleness is the ability to pivot. The ability to see another problem and attack it. Instead of staying over here, focus, which they tell you to do all the time. But if you turn over here and can do it effectively, you can make a difference here too. It's a huge thing to be able to change your mind. It really is. And until I started doing this homework, I never knew it was so valuable, because it is valuable, guys. Being able to change your mind is valuable. Don't listen to the opinions of others. Now, if you're just changing your mind to change your mind, and you're not learning anything from it, then why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? But if you're doing it to learn, to be open-minded, to learn new ideas and challenge the status quo, and you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot. Because it's important to remember, guys. It's important to remember. Depends on what you're looking for. Depends on what you're looking for out of your business, out of your relationships. But if you want to be seen as somebody who's stubborn, hard-headed, digs their heels in, confident, then, like I said, you're going to dig your heels in. You're not going to give. But if you're someone who wants to be seen as open-minded, nimble, quick, efficient, then you're going to have a different kind of a mindset, and you're going to be perceived as intelligent. And it's pretty simple that way, guys. It's pretty simple. All right. Hey, listen. Great show. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, CC and the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Health, Love, and Life Show. Please get a hold of me, 602-390-9144. You can also go to my calendar at CoachArnie.com. You can also go to Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn. You can go to my Facebook page, Coach Arnie, and Love to hear from you. All right, guys, go out and have a great weekend. I appreciate all of you.